A little girl asked her mother, "How did the human race appear?" The mother answered, "God made all of the mankind." 2 days later, the girl asked her father the same question. The father answered, "Many years ago, there were monkeys from which the human race evolved." The confused girl returned to her mother and said, "Mom, how is it possible that you told me the human race was created by God? And Dad said they developed from monkeys." The mother answered, "Well, dear, it is very simple. I told you about my side of the family, and your father told you about his."
Hey, Sheen. Let me also tell an evolution joke, please. Okay, what do you call people who don't believe in evolution? Primate change deniers. Well, these might be jokes. However, we have seen that time, which is the most crucial aspect of evolution, has not yet caught on with many people who still believe that we have evolved from monkeys. The creationists, the people who think that humans were created by someone, then ask this question to try and stump the evolutionist. If monkeys evolved into humans, why do we still have monkeys? Fair question. Welcome to a brand new video by Pale Blue Thoughts. In this video, we discuss the question haunting primate change deniers. If we evolved from apes, why do we still have apes? Or, if the theory of evolution is a fact, why haven't we seen a monkey turn into a human? Before we go into the answer to these questions, we would like to give you a bit of a brief about what evolution is in the easiest way possible for common people to understand. Please remember that this is not going to be an extensive class on evolution. You may call this evolution for dummies.
We will take an example to understand evolution better. There is a colony of black-colored rats who are living on a white or light-colored rocks. Now, in this colony, all rats may not necessarily be completely black. Some may have a lighter shade as well. Now, the predators of these rats, like eagles, can notice the black-colored rats more easily than the light-colored ones. So obviously, the lifespan of the black rats shortens and the chance of survival of the light-colored ones increases. So after a certain period, the light-colored rats outnumber the black ones as they are left by the predators to reproduce more and also have enough food to survive and take their generations ahead. This continues, and later there would be a point on this rocky habitat that there would not have a single black rat and all would be the light-colored ones. So we might now say that all the black rats change their color to white as part of evolution. But that's not true, since it's not that black changes to white. Black rats will probably reproduce black rats only. But there is something called survival of the fittest in evolution. So the white rats had better chances of survival than the black ones, so they survived generations after generations and the black ones went extinct. There is a common misconception that survival of the fittest means that the strongest would survive. Nothing could be farther from the truth. The sentence survival of the fittest doesn't mean the strongest species survive. It's that the species who are suited best in the current habitat or environment and adjusts and adapts best survives. This is called evolution in the briefest description.
Let's take an example. Consider an air-conditioned train compartment in which there are around 20 members of the Indian swimming team. Most of them national champions in swimming. Now consider a co-passenger, a lady with let's say a 2-year-old child. The child starts to cry and the lady goes to the door and opens it to show him the sights outside to stop him from crying. At the same time, the train moves onto a bridge over a river. Suddenly, there is a huge sound and the train lurches sideways. The train slips off the tracks and plunges into the river below. When the lurch happens, the child gets thrown out of the open door and lands on a clump of thick grass besides the bridge. The door then slams shut, entrapping all of the people inside. The compartment falls into the river and all the people, remember this is an AC compartment, including the swimmers, lose their lives because they were unable to escape from the closed confines. But the child miraculously escapes. It is found by some locals and is raised by them. Here, who is the fittest? The champion swimmers who could have escaped easily had the environment been different, as they knew how to swim. But the only person who survived was the small child who did not know how to swim. However, he was much more suited to the environment, as by chance he was thrown out of the compartment before it landed in the waters. And again by chance, he landed safely in a clump of bushes. This baby may go on to produce more generations, while the swimmers who could have survived, had there been the same chance, failed to survive and perished. This is the simplest example we can find for explaining survival of the fittest, and this is how evolution works. Random chance of species which can survive best in a particular environment. People also ask, why are we humans not affected by evolution? I haven't changed a bit into another species. These sort of questions. When we hear this, we understand that this person doesn't know the basics of evolution. Evolution, for one, doesn't affect one person. It is an event which occurs to humans as a species, generations after generations. Also, it is directionless. It doesn't start out like a potter who takes a clay and molds it into a pot of his liking.
So in the black and the white rat example, we saw that as the surrounding habitat and environment suited the white rats the most, they were selected for survival naturally, or in other words, a natural selection happened there. So this kind of evolutionary difference is there in all species. In the same species, there may be difference in color, weight, height, strength, ability to run, etc. All crows are not similar. All bees are not similar. This difference may not be visible through our eyes. The difference is what assists the natural selection, and hence this kind of evolution is also called as microevolution. Now another question is whether a species will evolve and change to another species. For this, we need to first understand what is a species. A group of living organisms consisting of similar individuals capable of exchanging genes or interbreeding is called a species. We have made this classification as per species for our easier understanding and study. So how does one species evolve and change into another? We will again explain this using an example.
In one of the places, there is a species living together called A. After a certain period of time, this species split themselves into two different areas. This can be due to many reasons. For now, we will take that a river started flowing between their habitat and split them into two groups. And the ones on this side can't go to the other side and vice versa. So, there are two different groups of A species who could not go to their respective other side and interbreed. So what does this mean? The DNAs of these two groups are not mixing. So the species on both sides live and reproduce as per their living habitat and environment, and slow change occurs in their DNA as per their respective place or habitat, and that's how natural selection occurs. So after many years, due to the respective changes in DNA in both the species due to the different habitat and circumstances, these groups of the same species which are differently evolved and are very different from each other. Let's call one of the group now as B. So we can say A has evolved into B. Now note that the complete A species have not evolved into B, but only a small group evolved and changed to B. So you see, what has happened here was that within the same species, a reproductive isolation happened, and this continued for many years, and hence there is a chance of one species changing into another. The species just before A split into A and B will be called the common ancestor of A and B. Now if these two species now meet, they will not interbreed due to the evolutionary changes in them, and that they will not feel attracted to each other to mate. Just a word of caution here. When we say many years, it may mean lakhs or even crores of years together. Evolution is a very slow process.
There may be many reasons of how one species may split and move into two different places or habitat. As we said earlier, a river can start flowing in between and split them, or a desert or a mountain. Or one group among the same species can go away in search of food and never come back. If food habits differ for a long in a group, they can go separate as per their choice. There may be also a change in chromosomes, and hence all in the same species may not be able to breed and mate together, and hence create a reproductive isolation. So what are the prerequisites for a species to evolve into another? 1. The species should be split into two due to some reason, natural or because of a chance event or on purpose. 2. They should not be allowed to reproduce among themselves. That is, species A and species B should not sexually mate. 3. Then the mutations that happen across each generation in the split species will tend to accumulate on a separate species and gets carry forwarded without a chance to intermingle. Also, it is very important to note that evolution is not a designed process with an intention to bring about new species. It's an aimless process where several factors including environment changes, random mutations, reproductive isolation, and many other factors bring about changes naturally.